Great. Welcome everyone to the Town of Greater Napanee special session of council for the 8th day of January 2026. Just before we call the meeting in order, I just want to remind everyone that this evening's meeting is being live streamed via our YouTube channel. So welcome to the folks that are here in the body of the council chambers. Welcome to those at home who are watching, and welcome to those that will watch us later on this evening or at a later date. So thanks. We'll call the meeting to order, and we'll open up the our meeting this evening with our opening proceedings, which is the playing of the national anthem. So I'll ask those that are in the council chambers to stand and face the flag, and as we play the national anthem. Great, thank you, everyone. Moving forward, we'll look for a motion of the adoption of the agenda as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calver, seconded by Councillor Shank. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed, motion's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Items for discussion. 2026 draft budget presentation, day 2, growth and infrastructure. And Ms. Hamill, you're going to start first.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to welcome council back and thank them for the productivity that we had yesterday in our first budget meeting. We covered a lot of ground and a lot of information and appreciated all of the dialogue that we were able to have last night. And without further ado, we can move on to the next phase of our budget this year. We are going to start under the similar format as we did yesterday, starting with growth and infrastructure. Once we've completed growth and infrastructure, we will cover the utilities budget, which again, just reiterating, is separate from the tax levy and is funded through the user fees of the utility system. So I will turn it over to our GM of Growth and Infrastructure, who will take the presentation from here.
Thank you, Ms. Hamill, and through you, Your Worship, to Council. Moving right into the presentation. Growth and infrastructure provides a number of services to the community. Predominantly, we provide recommendations to council regarding community growth. We provide services related to building construction, so building code administration, code enforcement. We manage our infrastructure assets to ensure continuity of service to our residents and manage contract administration for capital renewal. We oversee our curbside waste collection contract with Waste Management and the operation of our municipal waste disposal sites. Staff operate out of a number of sites that are contained on the slide on screen. So we have a number of building-related assets that these staff operate out of to provide these services to the community. This slide is intended to give just a general overall picture of the department's finances. We'll get into more details as we work through the presentation itself, but we can come back to this overall slide if required. From an overall budgeting perspective, all departments work to produce a very clean budget. and have only included enhancements that staff believe are truly mission critical to providing and maintaining consistent operations and levels of service to the public. So if there's no questions specifically on this slide, we'll move right into the building department, and I'll ask Mr. Nanton to come forward to walk us through the both the building and planning budgets for council's consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Nopes, and through you to council. To jump right into an overview of the building division ensures compliance with building-related regulations while working to support a healthy and sustainable built environment, and work to complete various tasks and responsibilities, which are outlined through this slide in greater detail. These include issuance of building permits, completing inspections, reporting, and ensuring compliance with the Ontario Building Code, as well as the town's property standards bylaw and zoning bylaw, which are some of the primary day-to-day functions of the division. The building department is comprised of 5 full-time employees with a proposed 2026 annual operating budget of $704,481, which is fully funded through permit revenues. Moving to a slide here to note some major division highlights over the past calendar year. Some of these highlights include major industrial, institutional, and residential projects which have advanced or been completed, which speaks to the dedication of the department to support development within the community. Moving now on to the general financial overview for building. Historical actuals were reviewed to arrive at the projected revenue for 2026, and the proposed budget is to be revenue neutral, with expenses being offset by permit fees and transfers to and from the building reserve. If the projected revenue is achieved in 2026, this will translate to a transfer of $62,519. And to further touch on a point made earlier, over the past 4 years, the building division has transitioned to be revenue neutral. So any transfer to a reserve would be specific to building. And if there's a deficit in a fiscal year, this would be drawn from that reserve as not to have an impact on the general levy. If there's not any questions for the slides presented for building, I'll move on to planning. So to speak to the planning department ensures compliance and conformity with planning-related regulations and policies while working with the public and development industry to create healthy, safe communities. The division reviews and processes various Planning Act applications, and we take these from pre-consultation and intake all the way through to a decision made by a committee or council. The division works closely with internal departments to investigate and help enforce zoning compliance issues and supports zoning compliance review for permit applications for the building division. The division features 2.5 full-time employees, which is allocated among 3 administrative assistants on a part-time basis, 1 dedicated full-time staff member, and a director and general manager on a part-time basis. This is a fairly lean department with consideration for the application volume received on an annual basis and when considered against municipal comparators. This slide serves to provide some division highlights over 2025. These include granting draft plan approval for 2 new development projects in the town, obtaining commitments for community benefit grants for energy projects, marketing town-owned industrial lands and leveraging the industrial CIP. And it is worth noting the highlights and efforts made to complete the town land registry and surplus parcel selection, those efforts done by staff as well as council over the past year. Moving now to the financial overview. So the planning division has a proposed annual operating budget of $251,666 in 2026. These revenues are based on review of actuals historically and are conservative in nature. Of note on this slide, there is a proposed increase in contracted services of $10,000 in the coming calendar year. This is to account for fees associated with supporting an updated zoning bylaw. Just to clarify, the $10,000 is not expected to cover the entirety of the fee for the zoning bylaw update, but rather the majority of it would be contracted through the 2026 year of the entire budget allocation for that line item. moving to some of the overview bullets there, staff did a review of municipal competitors to identify some application fees and identified opportunities to realize revenue increase, subject to council's desire to consider fee increases as reviewed on the following slides.
And just before we jump into these fee considerations for council, I did just want to note that staff are truly looking for some direction in what Mr. Nanton's about to present to council. I would like to reiterate that the fee increases that we're showing here were not built into this budget at all. So we're using solely conservative numbers based on current application fees themselves and historic actuals, and we're confident in the numbers as presented. The mayor's directive challenged staff to find non-taxation sources of revenue to help offset expenses. And staff are compelled to bring this forward for council's attention, given the stark difference in planning fees between our comparators that we will be going through. Ultimately, the intent of staff is to help council to close the gap on the levy impact of the department overall. We do have a fees and charges review planned to commence within Q1. However, given that these fees are so dramatically low, it makes sense to potentially consider them in advance if council so desires. So we're looking to see, if council really has the appetite to consider these fee amendments. A further staff report that would outline it in greater detail would come back before any further actions would be taken by staff, such as issuing any notices of intent to modify these fees. But we did feel that it was prudent to bring this to council's attention during the budget process.
Thank you. And to continue with the findings of the slide, I do recognize that there's a lot of information in this table provided, but this slide serves to represent rates of planning application fees for 5 municipal comparators, as well as South Frontenac and Prince Edward County, which were selected just due to proximity, to help illustrate how the town compares. What was found and shown through the table is across the board, the town has significantly lower planning application fees, which if increased could result in revenue increases for the town. This slide serves to present some proposed rates for council's consideration. So as shown, the proposed rates in the highlighted column for the 2026 proposed rates still represent a below the average of the comparators, the municipal comparators, and adjacent municipalities reviewed. So they would still remain quite competitive if council was interested in making such changes. And based on annual average application intake historically, these changes could result in a significant revenue increase of $73,750 in 2026. I'm happy to answer any questions for this table or what has been presented.
Go ahead, Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Do you fellas think that this puts us in a competitive edge? Does it give us a competitive edge because of the lower fees? I mean, some of these are extremely low, some of the fees in here. So there should be a balance, I would think, of, being too low and being competitive. But sometimes the developer may look at us and say, gee, there's a community that we can deal with. Look at the rates aren't that, I'm just curious of your opinion.
Thank you for your question and through you. So it kind of, not to skirt the question, kind of works both ways. So it is attractive at first, and I think historically it does help with maybe getting through the door in some considerations. I think there are hidden fees associated with having super low costs historically, having a lot of work subcontracted out that is billed back to proponents through the process is something that might not work over time to our advantage. Just for instance, if we're subcontracting out fees because we don't have the staffing complement for technical review, for instance, those invoices are billed back directly to the proponent. So our fees might look low, but the cost of doing business and getting approvals might translate to a very similar fee to something, say, of Loyalist or another municipal comparator. If we are able to take some of that fees with more planning staff in-house now, I believe it helps us be more competitive as a municipality moving forward to increase our fees.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Go ahead, Ange.
Thank you, through you, your worship. So, David, the delta of 73,750 that's shown on this slide would ultimately be going towards an additional staff member. Is that potentially where that revenue would be used?
Through your worship, to Councillor Hicks, not immediately, no. So we do plan to come back to give council a sense of how lean the department ultimately is at the end of the day. In the future, absolutely, we do see a dramatic need already for additional staff, but given the budget pressures and the current economic climate, we can't recommend it in this budget round. But we certainly see the value of now having Mr. Nanton in-house that can help reduce those sub-consultant assigned fees to those applicants. So this helps to give more certainty on what the actual bottom line cost is going to be for an applicant coming in the door, getting through the process towards a final decision. Not every municipality has every single discipline of an engineer, for example. So they're going to need to sub-consult out. Either they do the model that the town does now, which is a direct pass-through billing of the cost received from that consultant back to the applicant, or they inflate their overall fee and soak that into their operating budget when required. So we're looking to slowly close the gap, I'll say, but in this instance, it really does represent a good amount of money that the municipality could realize in the short term if council wishes to jump on this opportunity sooner rather than later. But ultimately, yes, in the future, this would help to offset the burden of an additional staff member, but not proposed under this round.
So the through you, your worship, thank you. So the sub-consultant fee, so if I'm just looking at a minor variance, that typically would not go outside. But if you were looking at official plan amendment, you may want to get a second opinion, for instance, because I'm looking that is a fairly substantial cost with our comparators. Would you still be billing back? Even if the rate increased from $1,500 to $3,000 in Napanee, in Greater Napanee, if you did have to go to a sub-consultant, would you still be billing that direct cost back to the applicant?
Thank you for the question, through you. So for planning, the need for that is not been, I don't deem that to be required moving forward. For engineering and specialized review, that's still going to be a part of it. Things like noise and more technical studies. Part of, if I may, the proposed rate increase is really trying to catch up in the areas where it's going to be developer driven as opposed to more resident driven applications. So not trying to increase a minor variance or consent to a place where a resident making an application is really burdened by it. But there's a lot of work that goes into, say, a subdivision application that we're doing that's not being captured right now. So I think this is a more fair rate.
It's a very thorough, detailed report, and it's easy to understand why you're making the recommendations that you are. Thanks.
Through your worship, and just to further the point, we're very lucky to now have Mr. Nanton on staff. Certainly brings a lot of expertise that we would be going out to planning consultants for, but we are now able to keep that in-house for a lot of these larger applications. Not that we're going to be able to do every single application in-house. We might just be inundated within a short period of time, and we might need to go out the odd time, but that has dramatically decreased since Mr. Nanton has joined the team.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Michael, because I hate to have hired David for still outsourcing. So thank you. But under consent, 31 applicants, the average. Consent means lot severance. Okay, severance. So you're going from 1,000 to 1,500. So the point is that I don't know if you're going to need this motion in the past or you're just earmarking this, but this is something I think we should have a report bringing back, because when you look at the past, because I've been on the other side where I would go ahead and then I put in an application in, and then it was outsourced to, I'm not going to name the firm, all right, then they go ahead and they milk it for every cent there is, and I have no control. And it says, here's your bill in the municipality. And you want to talk about repulsing business. This way here, when you're doing it in-house, and Dave can say to me or say to the applicant, say, you know, I've done this, and this, and this is the bill, and this is the reason why. Now, any of these fees or applicants, when they go ahead for, let's say, an official plan amendment or whatever, do we have the process that if it only took so much, the rest is refundable, or it's just a flat fee, we're taking it all? I'm not sure how the current process or if it's changed.
Through your worship, I can address that to Councillor Shanks. So we take an application fee and then a deposit. So the deposit is intended to be used if an applicant is not paying their bills per se. So meaning if we got a bill to us for subconsultant's work and the applicant doesn't pay, we can draw upon that deposit and have them top that up. Often it doesn't happen where we stay on top of that billing pretty well. Once the file is closed, that deposit, any amount remaining, goes back to the applicant in that case.
So under consent, it's just $1,500. There's not a deposit on top of that, is there?
Through your worship, there's a deposit, but we do in the consents and the variances, since my time at the town, we haven't gone out for those. We've really looked to control those smaller applications, I'll say, by doing them in-house and giving that certainty to residents for those types of applications. But the work that Mr. Nan's doing now is really like it's almost burdensome to some degree, like having to do all of the consents and all of the variances. There's a high workload with them, where a lot of his time should be more focused on the larger draft plan applications, official plan amendments. That's where we're looking at with future additional staff down the road. But yeah, to get back to your question, ultimately, no, the consents are staying in-house and have been stayed in-house for a number of years. There's a deposit only of $500 if we need to get an agreement registered on title, for example. That's all that deposit's ever used for, but predominantly we are not touching that deposit.
So
Go ahead, Mike.
road for thinking of hiring somebody else, because that's a whole nother ball of wax, because the average from 2015 to 2025 is 77 applicants. Yeah, so as things get busy, things change, business change. So there you go.
Yeah, we're not going to need any, they're looking for guidance, but they're not going to look for guidance tonight. Just there's a lot of information here, so. Yeah, I'm sure Mike's not going to let us forget this one.
And through your worship, yes, so staff really just wanted to see council's appetite to make changes to fees tonight. So a forthcoming report will detail this in more detail, and a future report can be had really highlighting application volume for the town, staff complement against our comparators. And there are stark differences there as well, but we will separate the two, one for fees, and then we can have a staffing level discussion later on. But the intent of tonight is council interested in doing this? If so, we'll bring back a future report.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry to belabor this, but when you look at what our comparables are from what you've done, from what Loyalist is charging and what we're charging, like, I don't mind, I want to be cheaper, but I don't want to be ridiculously cheap though. Also, we still have bills to pay, and rather than going to the levy all the time, it's a user pay system. So it's something that we should be looking into further.
Yeah, and I agree, Mike. I think it's really quite amazing the differences, the vast differences between some of this. And I agree with you. I think we want to make sure we we keep our competitive edge by all means. But it's almost outrageous at this point. I mean, when you look at some of them, some of them are thousands of dollars difference. So I think it's prudent. I think you're going to find there's an appetite to bring this back, Mike, and have a look at us.
Through your worship, my last comment, and I'll let Mr. Grant jump in, but we're going to target a first meeting in February report to come back to council on this specifically.
Yeah, but go ahead, Mr. Grant.
So just through you, Mr. Mayor, just on this vein, end of Q1, council should expect an information report with all of the fees and charges of the municipality against our comparators. I think that you're going to find this will be on the extreme end, I would suggest, but I think we'll learn a lot more. But you're going to find that we're more competitive in almost every area, and there will be the odd ridiculous example, Councillor Schenk, I can assure you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Grant. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick, do we charge for an occupancy permit? I don't see it in here, that's all.
Through your worship, to Councilor Martin, we do, but that's under the building slide. We didn't go into detail. An occupancy permit is a building permit related fee, so we didn't highlight those. We're not proposing any amendments to those fees. We feel that they're fair and just at this moment in time. But yes, we do charge a flat rate, $100 for an occupancy permit.
Okay, no, I was just curious. Being in real estate before, I know some people delay finishing something, don't put trim down or ceiling tile because taxes don't start until the official occupancy permit's issued. Just a thing I wanted to find out. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. And just a quick question. Do we know when the last time we actually reviewed a lot of these things? It sort of seemed to me that it was probably a while ago.
Through your worship, it was 2020 that we made a very minor increment to each fee, but I would say this is the most thorough fee review that's been done in a number of years.
Yeah, so sounds like it's probably well overdue then. So thanks, Mike. Is there anything else, any other questions of Michael or Dave with respect to any of this stuff? Nope. So, yep, continue on.
Thank you, and through you, your worship. To speak to an operating budget enhancement item, staff are seeking to advance the zoning bylaw review and update immediately following the final approval of the official plan targeted for 2026. Once the updated official plan is in force and effect, the town has up to 3 years to update the zoning bylaw and the related schedules. This includes, updating all the definitions and the provisions in accordance with legislative changes, consolidating the bylaw to address amendments passed by council over the period between the previous consolidation, as well as consolidating and updating all schedules. The benefit of completing the zoning update in 2026 is the last consolidation took place in 2022, so 4 years ago now. Typically, this shouldn't be done, it shouldn't extend longer than a 2-year period typically. So now we're kind of on the heels of this new OP coming into effect, and this provides some operational efficiencies to proceed with this now, and it provides staff the ability to work with up-to-date materials. This helps us advise proponents and residents effectively, efficiently, and accurately, and process applications in a more transparent and clear manner. Another benefit is the ability to increase our digital service delivery in terms of providing web-based mapping applications for things like typical zoning reviews and the like, which are fairly common throughout review of websites of municipal comparators. The risk of not completing the zoning update in 2026 is we're already working with outdated materials. Staff are using significant amount of resources and time to basically parse through several different sets of resources to ensure we obtain the accurate zoning information for a given property. So it's labor intensive. Over time, that's buckets of cash that we are not utilizing well, and presents some type of risk for the municipality in not providing accurate information. I'm available for questions for the slide. Thank you.
Yep, go ahead, Councillor Hicks.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. So David, this is done in-house solely, or is it in-house with some being outsourced? Because it's not software, it's actual eyes on the document, reviewing it to see how it ties in and what needs to actually be effectively changed.
Thank you for the question, through you. So staff can help facilitate a lot of the zoning bylaw text updates, but this would be sourced out through an RFP process. It would be it's fairly technical exercise outside of doing the GIS preparation of the schedules, which is quite labor intensive. But the process would be best led through one sub-consultant that would update all the schedules and help us identify all the legislative changes and make sure we're kind of like a second set of eyes. So I would probably take on, some of the heavy lifting to realize that those efforts, but the budget items and line items sought here would probably be all allocated towards such a task.
Through your worship to Councillor Hicks, this is a project that would be eligible for 50-50 funding with development charges. So it has a benefit to both existing development and new growth. So we're looking to modestly increase our consultant line item by $10,000. It sits around 25. It has routinely sat around $25,000 per year. We're looking to up that by 10. So we'll be able to work within that, and then the other half from development charges throughout the year to advance the project. This is not a project that staff can solely undertake in-house. We would intend to do a lot of the heavy lifting and have consistent eyes on it, of course, before it comes to council and advances too far down the road. But we do need some help beyond what staffing capacity we have. And it's routine for even municipalities with a large staffing complement to go out for RFP for additional help for larger size projects like this.
Not an unexpected answer. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Ange. Is there anything else before we move on? Nope. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Nanton, and thank you to council for that direction and feedback. So we'll jump right in now to the Public Works budget. So I'll ask Mr. Cuthell to come forward. I just wanted to reiterate that this budget is extremely lean. We've not added anything that is not absolutely mission critical to ensuring continuity of service to the public. So I will turn it over to Mr. Cuthell now to run us through the Public Works presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Nobes, and thank you, Your Worship and Council, for the opportunity to speak tonight. Here this evening to go over our Public Works budget 2026 budget presentation. Public Works Department operates and maintains 450 kilometers of roads, 290 which being municipal roads and 160 county roads, and 55 kilometers of sidewalks. We've also listed a vast array of different service areas and services that's offered through the Public Works Department for total management of the road right-of-ways. Our division is comprised of 21 and a half full-time employees, over 15 cost centers. This is consistent with previous years. Division highlights for the Public Works Department for year 2025. We had a very successful capital works surface program consisting of just approximately 6 kilometers of road resurfacing. That consisted of surface pulverization, granular and base restabilization, as well as ditching, culverts, and that was conducted on Lime Lake Road and West Plain Road. Mainly, as well as single surface treatment program, which consists of asphalt padding, minor crossfall corrections, berm removal, minor ditch improvements, and then reapplication of a wearing surface. These were conducted on Story Street, Town Line Road, Shore Road, Road 1, Switzerville Road, and Dollar Crescent, comprising of approximately 13 kilometers. Microsurfacing program was on Drive-In Road, with 3.5 kilometers of a new surface wearing layer put on that road. Our gravel resurfacing program consisted of approximately 7.5 kilometers conducted on Meach Road and Asselstein Road. I've conducted sidewalk inspections in-house, 350 to 400, mainly ash tree removals and along our road corridors. And a variety of projects completed over and above our performance measures with the County of Langston-Ancton, and a comprehensive asset and heavy municipal fleet assessment was completed and presented to Council in 2025.
Thank you, Worship. I'm just going to step in here briefly for a moment. This is the general overall financial view of Public Works Division as a whole. You will see throughout the remainder of the presentation, there are a number of cost centers that have been provided in great detail. Some of them are lumped together with greater detail as we keep in our cost centers, but we will skim over a number of those, given that the major changes in those is just related to salaries. And just the same comment that we had from last night is that the allocations that we have within the cost centers are sometimes just simply related to how we report on the accounting side of it in those cost centers. So there's not necessarily fluctuations in operations. It's just simply how we've recorded and allocated those wages out. There have been no changes to existing staff levels. Just reiterating similar messages from last evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. And I'll do a briefly go through, like Ellen mentioned, there's many cost centers, there's 15 of them. I'll mainly touch on a lot of the fluctuations that there are, and if through any time, please feel free to ask any questions on any status quo slides that we may be going through. Public Works Administration, with the materials and supplies, this mainly attributes to utility costs, maintenance expenses for the main barns and department-wide tools and supplies. Contracted services mainly made up of 90% of these costs are contributed to insurance costs. Public Works garages, this is the cost attributed to maintaining two of our satellite garages, one being in Selby and the other being in South Fredericksburg. These are mainly used in the wintertime to reallocate efficiency for the deployment of our winter fleet, also for summertime works that may be predominantly done in the south or the north. Next slide is vehicle maintenance. We'll see that there's a proposed increase of $30,000 under the maintenance line. This is due to a trend in rising maintenance costs just due to the aging fleet. We hope when we can realize some fleet and equipment being delivered and being put into use that we can see that cost center dramatically reduce. Fuel's holding steady with stable fuel prices. Pretty much the rest of this slide is just the status quo. Roadside tree removal, there will be fluctuation in contracted services here. In 2025, we reinitiated a rural and urban weed spraying program for noxious weeds and weeds and boulevards. The rural spray program was very successful and well welcomed. We were experiencing, when we moved away from it for a few years, elevated complaints. They were greatly reduced last year. We didn't see a great benefit in the successfulness of the urban weed spraying program. So staff have an enhancement sheet further in the slide that the $10,000 would help offset and was moved into wages and benefits to propose an additional summer student to help with the beautification and the boulevard maintenance within the urban areas. Public Works, the hardtop maintenance cost center is pretty much status quo again this year. That's just materials is for hot mix asphalt purchasing, and the contracted services is mainly comprised of line painting and contracted services for asphalt paving jobs. Bridges and cross culverts, contracted services. This is one of the changes. It's a biannual program of our OSIMS inspections, structural inspection of all bridges and large culverts. 2026 is the year for them to be reconducted. There's also a service enhancement sheet later in the presentation that further explains that. Patching and crack sealing. This again is another enhancement. There's an enhancement sheet further in the presentation as well. In 2024, staff have been able to bring this exercise in-house, and we were able to train our staff up, and we go and we're able to source a rental machine for a crack sealing machine and buy the product, and we completed this in-house, and we found that we're able to do a much greater quantity where possible on the roads that our staff can perform it on, and we feel that every 2 years of bringing this program forward, it can keep us in for the roads we need to tackle for this program. Shoulder maintenance and ditching. Little bit of an increase here on materials and supplies. This is purchase granulars and culverts for entrance culverts, ditching improvements through areas of our community that have ditches have been filled in, silted in over time. Culverts have been rotted out and need to be replaced. The road may not be up for a capital full improvement, but the culverts need to be addressed or replaced, and this is the line we can address those issues. The public works stormwater, contracted services, small increase here, or linear or CIP, CLA, Consolidated Linear Infrastructure. We were mandated in 2025 to complete an operations manual and program for our stormwater ponds and our network. In doing so, we completed 2 surveys of stormwater ponds last year, and we have planned to complete 2 more surveys this year, and as well as some of the maintenance that goes with that, the flushing. Public works grading. Small reduction in materials and maintenance here. This is proposed for approximately, I believe there's a slide later in the presentation, but this is for materials and supplies. It's the purchase of granular materials for slated Buttermilk Falls for 2020, Buttermilk Falls Road for 2026. It's approximately just over 5 kilometers of road resurfacing that would take place. Contracted services line, small increase. That's just due to forecasted efforts of trucking and or if offset greater operations that may be needed. Dust control, status quo, we're able to, a small minor reduction here, but this is the purchase, mainly just the purchase of calcium chloride for the dust control applications. This, back approximately 5 years ago, council did award an increase in this budget. We were finding that certain years, one application wasn't necessarily enough to really hold the binder together on these gravel roads. So this gives us almost 2 applications where we can focus some spot spraying later in the summer. Traffic operations, again, we were able to find some savings here and have a $12,000 proposed reduction in materials and supplies. We did have to replace in previous years some of our traffic logics speed radar signs. None are proposed to be changed in this coming year, as well as some of the purchasing agreements through our performance measures with the county. We have found where we could utilize the county is responsible for some more stop signs and regulatory signs and whatnot. So we're able to correct this line item up some. There is an increase of $8,000 in contract services. That's for reflectivity testing. Every 2 years, I believe it is. 2 years. We have to conduct reflectivity testing on our regulatory signs. Sidewalks is a status quo. This $15,000 mainly is for contracted third-party services, do small sidewalk repairs, broken panels or panels that are outside of that need to be replaced prior to full capital replacement of the sidewalk.
Go ahead,
How
Councilor
many
Singh.
kilometers of sidewalks do we have in this town?
Through your worship, we have approximately 55 kilometers of sidewalks. Okay. Streetlights, this is for the maintenance of all of the streetlights within municipal roadways. All of this work is conducted mainly by a third party, and our warranty period was up in the end of 2024. We did make sure we got as many headlights that we could find any issues with repaired prior to the end of that warranty, but we did increase the budget in 2025, and but we feel that we can run status quo 26. And the next slide is the winter control. Few fluctuations here. Materials and supplies. In 2025, we carried $250,000 in materials and supplies. $50,000 of that dollars was contributed through winter maintenance stabilization reserve fund that was created. And I believe that fund is somewhere around $108,000 remaining. So we have planned for 2026 to carry a budget of $200,000 that is forecasted over a 5-year average to be at a mean that could be supplemented, or if surplus was realized, could go back into the reserve, whatever council so choose to do with the surplus. But if we were over on that budget, it could be supplemented by a winter maintenance reserve fund.
That's something you don't want to fool around with, because if you remember that one Christmas where we had that snowstorm and everything else, and the amount of snowstorms that we've had so far. Remember last year, I think we didn't have any snow till February. But all I'm saying is that budget can go real quick, especially with the freezing rain and everything else. And I commend the guys what they've done so far, keeping our roads, because I have traveled through Hastings County where, hold on. And as soon as you got to Greater Napanee, you could see that it was a lot better, even though the same ice rain was the same level at different areas. So no, that's something you don't want to feel. You want to make sure there's enough money there.
Thank you very much. Yes, we did experience quite a heavy 2025 season, I would say, especially it ended with a bang. Through end of November, December, there was a lot of calls for winter operations, and projections look that we will finish within budget. So I think that we should be good with the winter stabilization reserve that council set up last year. That's got us in a real good spot. Minor adjustment on contracted services due to the heavy winters. As mentioned, the past couple years, there's been a little bit and just some fleet getting a little older in age and stuff like that. The contracted services is just offset snow removal, potential truck rentals and or loader rentals or whatnot. We're moving now. If there's no other questions or reflection back on those cost centers, we can move into the operating budget enhancement sheets.
Yep, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. So the first enhancement sheet that we have shown here is, as mentioned before, is our OSIMS reports. Brief description of the OSIMS is an Ontario Structural Inspection Manual. It's just to inspect biannually any bridge or large dam or culvert 3 meters or greater for any structural defects or attention that may need or additional surveys and whatnot.
Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you, through you, your worship. Just roughly, and if you don't know right exact numbers, but how many structures require, I know that there's a specific bridge that has to be done this year. But how many structures do we have that require this?
To your worship, I believe it's around 27 structures currently that we have that require inspection, mainly bridges, and maybe maybe 20 bridges and 7 large diameter culverts.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Go ahead, Jeff.
So if that's all with OSIMs, we're moving on to the next is the urban spraying program. As mentioned, we did show a reduction in $10,000 through the I think it was a mowing slide, and it was the trees and mowing, and it just wasn't. We brought it and we tried it last year, and some of the municipalities have tried it, and I don't think the success was there for us. We tried 2 applications at the times that were needed, and we just didn't see the kill that we were looking for, the result. So in conjunction with Mr. Brown and with Michael and Mike, we think that if we deployed another summer student, we could try some boots in the ground and see what kind of result we can get out of this.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
So the student's going to be spraying?
No, the student would it would be a manual cutting, mechanical pulling, removal in certain areas. It wouldn't realistically be all in one student. That student would be primary job, and we would try and offset and with some other students and such and focus on the different areas.
My only concern is only thing is because my knowledge with chemicals and how you can kill weeds, that's quite substantial. But behind the TD, you know what I mean? I don't know what you can do on public property and what you can't do. There's certain weeds, and some are Roundup resistant, some aren't, or whatever. But I just, behind the TD with the weeds and in some of the other areas that, that it's the appearance. The number one it says here is appearance. So I know there is chemicals that I can definitely advise you that will definitely smoke those weeds and will never come back. But I don't know if you're legally allowed to go ahead and spray that on those properties.
I can.
It may disintegrate the concrete there too, Mike. We don't know. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, no, it's a great comment to mention. And if we were able to use the proper products, like in the past days when you're able to use Roundup products and stuff for beautification, we would be able to work that into our operations, no problem. But unfortunately, you can't use those type of chemicals for beautification purposes in urban settings. So we are forced to look at like vinegar solutions or more environmentally approved solutions. So we will be able to combat some of that with the student if we get them trained up or full-time staff utilizing products in certain areas, but mainly it's going to come down to the mechanical efforts to remove these.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, through your worship. My only problem with manually getting rid of some of these weeds, like some of these weeds, when you cut them, just the juice and stuff that can come from them, they want to make sure that whoever's doing it is really properly handled, because some people are highly allergic, some people aren't. But have we ever used a product called Clearview? Yeah, I know it's got quite a price tag attached to it, but it works pretty good. But I don't know what you can spray or can't spray in town, right? So, thank you.
Yeah. I through your worship, I do believe that was the name we used, and I can reiterate that product is one that can't be used in an urban setting for beautification. It can only be used on noxious weeds classified, but it does have a separation. There's a lot of strict rules we have to follow when we are running up municipal roadsides, so we have to stay away from a lot of setbacks. So
Sounds typical. If it works, we can't use it.
Go ahead, Michael.
Through your worship to council, I just wanted to highlight that staff really heard council's comments over the course of 2025 regarding the appearance of the downtown and the existence of the weeds. So we really put our attention towards finding a creative solution with as minimal levy impact as we could find to address the issue. So this is what we were able to come up with, and staff feel it's it's a suitable alternative to the spraying that unfortunately did not work in years past.
Yeah, great, great, thanks. Councilor Hicks.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not really a question, more of a comment. So this individual, the student, is going to be very, very visible. And that's all I have to say about that. I'll let you just run with that during the interview and hiring process. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ange. Is there anything else before we move on? If not, go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. Our next slide, enhancement sheet, focuses on our crack sealing program. Previously talked about this in 2024. Staff brought this on in-house and proposed it to be a biannual program. We had great success. Our staff took this on, and we were able to bring in another contractor who was willing to train our staff of all the safety precautions and the proper uses of this equipment and the most efficient ways of conducting this work. And they, as always, knocked it out of the park. So we were able to really do a lot more with our own resources here.
Yep. Go ahead, Brian.
Through your worship. Yeah, the crack sealing program, that's amazing, because if you don't seal the cracks, you got bigger problems down the road. Is every 2 years enough? Are you seeing that being enough?
Through your worship, it's just, yes, I do feel it's enough for the amount of kilometers that we can cover. We have 70 kilometers of asphalt roads, and we only a certain amount of those roads would qualify for utilizing crack sealing on, where they haven't been gone too far. You could spend half of the budget of replacing the road to fill some of the cracks in some of the roads that we are experiencing. So some roads are just too far gone, but it's keep our good roads good. And if we stay on top of the roads that we can maintain, yes, I believe the biannual program for this is enough.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep, go ahead. I don't see anything else, Jeff, so.
The next slide is a slide that I believe there's a presentation brought forth to council from the Recreation Committee in 2025, and it was a council directive to bring forth costs for the addition of a second spring cleanup day in 2026. This cost of $3,300 just reflects the total cost of a second spring cleanup day. Moving on, we have identified enhancement sheets, but not included in the budget, just to show council some of the considerations that unfortunately we didn't feel could be brought forward in the budget at this time due to maintaining not increasing the levy. The first one here is spray foam, South Fredericksburg building garage. This would just be some of the garages, the insulation is old and non-existent or insufficient, and we have completed some spray foam in this building, but this $15,000 would complete the remainder of the spray foaming of the building and in turn reduce heating and energy costs. The next slide.
Oh, I think, yeah, go ahead, Ange, you got a question?
Do you know, and if you don't know right now, that's fine. But can you find out or tell us what the cost was last year for heating that building?
The 2025 budget for that building was $10,000, and currently the year-to-date actuals are $9,600. I just have to dive deeper to see whether or not the final billings are included in that or not. Pardon?
through your worship, we'd be 2 billings short. Enbridge is always delayed by 2 months. So we'd have 2 more bills to come in.
Probably be slightly over the 10 grand. Okay, thank you.
Moving on, the next budget enhancement sheet that's not included in this evening's budget numbers is grading, is the resurfacing of Oliver Side Road between Bridge Street and Dundas Street. This was a road that was identified to receive another surface of surface granulars in 2026, though it was removed from the budget, and Buttermilk Falls Road is the only road slated to receive re-graveling this year.
Yep, great. Thanks, Jeff. Moving on.
So that brings us to the end of any budget enhancement sheets that either impacted or were really considered to be incorporated into this evening's operational budget enhancements. The next will go into capital budget recommendations.
Through your worship to council, before we start looking at the capital budget enhancements proposed, I did just want to remind council that we've had a number of these conversations previously prior to budget, including the financing options related to one piece of equipment. So it was directed by council at those pre-budget meetings that we include these items for consideration during this budget. So staff are really looking for a commitment from council, whether council really has the appetite to spend this money. And if so, staff would go out and start looking at options. All decisions on purchasing the equipment, all of the details would come back to council for each piece of specific equipment at a future date. But really what we're looking for right now is, does council have the appetite to allocate this money? More or less, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's already baked into the budget, Mike. It just, I think staff is looking for the authorization to go ahead and try and spend.
Go ahead. That's just me.
May I?
Yep, go
Through
ahead,
your
Ange.
worship. So this has already been discussed. This has already been presented, the reasoning behind it. And the reason it's here with an SLT rating of 1 is because council as a whole said, yeah, we need the equipment. So we don't need to rehash this again tonight, do we?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Graham.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we appreciate that this is not the first time you're hearing it. We're happy to speed up through things, but as we did mention in the lead up to budget, it was more for information only. We do not have your authorization to spend this money, and candidly, we're not going to unless you say we can. So we have to ask you.
I think the safe thing to do is we do a very brief reminder of all of us, because I think we all know what's involved in this. Do a really brief reminder, and we will give you an indication as to whether I think it's probably a good idea to move forward with this. Does that sound fair to everybody? So.
No, I just, it's hard to load a snowplow truck with a shovel. You know what I mean? So if you don't have a payloader, you know what I mean, that's operating, and you've already done it, and we already had that presentation of what you're going to do, and you're looking at different options now, which is great. You're looking for the best bang of the buck. All right. You're going to come back to us saying, yes, we found this. This was within our budget and everything else. Can we sign the check? You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. So understanding what the age of the fleet is and what the costs are with the loader and what the asks are, you know what I mean? We only have so much money that we have in the bank, and what you've done, if you allocated the SLT, went through the rating programs, you did the proper process, and we followed the process. You weaned us very well until we got to what we had. So the information was correct. Now we understand the information. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Grant. I'll let you comment first.
So very briefly, we'll go through capital budget light. We'll give you the high levels of it. And then what this will be, this will come out of a reserve, go on the shelf of we intend to purchase, but we'll come back and ask you, this particular thing with these specifications, are you good? But just for clarity, this is an exercise of we intend to purchase. And so with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor, but we'll go through it relatively quickly.
And we just have to keep in mind that there may be people that didn't watch the previous meetings with respect to the conversations that we had. And so in keeping with the strong mayor's legislation, we are now officially having a budget meeting on this. So and I know what you're saying, Mike. We've all seen this. We all know it's needed and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's important that we at least everybody gets the right information. So capital levy light. Thank you, Jeff. The floor
Thank
is
you,
yours.
Worship and Council. So brief run through of our capital enhancement sheets. The first slide depicts two loader replacements, one being a 1995 loader that's housed at a Selby and the other being a 2005 loader. Options that were previously mentioned, staff would go out and look for good used equipment and look good for value.
I think the indication is that council is supportive of looking for two used loaders with a value of $460,000. So on to the next one.
Thank you. Next is a wheeled excavator. This wheeled excavator is heavily used in capital and ditching and culvert replacements and also during grubbing and roadside mowing, brushing in the winter times and off seasons. We would be looking to purchase a new rubber tired excavator that would be comparable to the one we currently own. And this was identified as a financed purchase.
I just wanted to jump in here. So the financing options and terms would come back to council as well. So there's no commitment to specific financing terms under these numbers proposed. But staff have a very good sense from our financing institution that these would be the numbers. It's just wanted to make it clear to council that would come back along with the details of any equipment to be purchased.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
Do you have any idea what you'd sell that used for?
At this time, I do not. No, I don't really know what the market is for that.
Yeah, well, when we look at that and we look at the financing options, and I was just thinking what we could get and what we can't get because, hey, there we go.
Yep. It'll come back to us. So we should be able to have that figured out by then anyway. So, but I think, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, through your worship. What is the current year of the excavator we would be getting rid of if this goes through?
I believe it's 2010, but I'm just going to 2012.
Thank you.
So it doesn't sound like it owes us a whole lot then.
It does not owe us a whole lot. This is one of our very important pieces of equipment, mainly used in our department, and offsets used throughout the town and other departments as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. And I'm sensing that I'm not hearing any resistance to that ask either. So moving on to the next one.
The next slides will show our double and single surface treatment program. And this slide depicts the OCIF funding in the CCBF gas tax federal funding. The next slides will break out to the different roads that are proposed for this 2026. Under our double surface treatment program, we propose Homestead Road. This is between West Plain Road and County Road 41. About 3 years ago, this road was pulverized and brought back to a granular surface due to some box culvert replacements that had to be done before we would proposed to resurface that road. So this would be bringing that road back to its current state of a surface treated road. The next two roads are just different segments of Beechwood Road. These two portions of road are currently high valued asphalt road, and staff are proposing to reduce the surface on these roads down to a surface treated wearing layer, just due to the current use of this road with the waste management not in operation, the reduction of commercial and annual average day traffic on this road. It more aligns with the traffic volumes to a surface treated road would be well suited here. Yes, yeah, and a portion of this Beechwood Road was already reclassified to a surface treated road, so this will be consistent for the rest of that road. The next roads that are highlighted in the next slide are up for a single surface. This program takes place roughly throughout the life cycle of road. It's roughly between 6 and 8 years. This just when the surface treated road, the oils start flushing to the top, you have reduction in traction, and also if we can just keep those cracks covered and sealed, it will keeps the road base good, and we can experience longevity of the roads. So this is a maintenance program, a reapplying of a maintenance layer.
Yep. Councilor Hicks, and I go to Councilor Shank.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, you probably know what question I'm going to ask. Was it the double surface treatment that was done on County Road 9? Like by the county? Well, the contractor, that's where they sort of heat it up and they relay it and it provides better grip and longer life and okay.
So
just for anyone watching that lives on County Road 9, they'll know what we're talking about.
I just would like to clarify the northern part of County Road 9 on the asphalt part, so the blacker looking overlay, that was a micro surface overlay. So it's a granite chip and emulsion, and that just creates more traction and seals the traveled surface. On the south side of County Road 9 this year was tar and chip. So to the point. So there was they had both different applications there.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ange. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, just for clarity, so everybody has their facts right. Now quote me if I'm wrong, but out of the surface treatment for single and for the 2022, that's single and double, there's a total of 17.97 kilometers. And out of that, 14.5 kilometers are all done in Ward 3. Those roads, when I look at those roads. And out of that, that's $996,000 that you're spending on roads because of the road problems that they have in Ward 3. Just so everybody understands the facts of what's being committed here and what isn't being committed here. And that's the total, 996, though that when I look and I don't take away just the two other roads, there isn't, so 99.9% of it is done in the Ward 3. Because when Dave was here, he was always saying, hey, my roads are going for a crapper. So, Dave, you're not here, but it is getting done this year. There we go.
Yeah, and thanks, Mike, for bringing that up. So, if that, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, through your worship. Just back it up. So on the double surface treatment, you're talking about doing Beechwood Road over to Deserana Road. That's pavement now, is it not? And you're going to double surface treatment over pavement?
Our plan of attack there from Johnson Side Road out to Deserana Road would be pulverized in place. The asphalt that's there, we would go deep pulverization below surface granulars. There's extensive transverse cracking there that are very tough to drive over, especially with a large fleet. So that would be same as we did with drive-in road. So deep pulverization and a heavy lift of surface granulars put on top and resurfaced.
Okay, I misunderstood there. My mind was off in another direction here, and I just heard we're going to double treat over pavement. I'm going, okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Brian. Not seeing anything else, so go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, on to another capital enhancement sheet for fleet is the replacement of a tandem axle plow truck. This would replace, is proposed to replace a 2011 truck. This truck, we're experiencing significant separation. If you recall, we talked about the 2-ply frame. It's spreading due to corrosion. It's a design flaw in my mind that through that vintage of truck and style of frame, but this we propose to replace this truck.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Through your worship, thank you. So the new trucks we have on order that we're patiently been waiting for a few years now, they don't have this double ply frame, is that correct?
No, through your worship, no. There's single monoframe.
Thank you. And do they get pressure washed off regularly after being used for salt? Like after being out on a storm, that sort of thing?
As best we can, and we are always monitoring that and trying to enhance washing. But yes, our mandate to the crews are to, when possible, and very important, to flush and wash trucks after storm events.
One more question. Do we get these trucks undercoated?
We have an annual program. We do have them undercoated.
All checked off. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, through your worship, with our manager of corporate capital assets coming on the team in October this year, we've identified a number of, I'll say, preventive maintenance enhancements that we can lean into. One of them being washing and using specific desalination chemicals with the washing to really have effective corrosion resistance for these high quality pieces of equipment. So we'll bring back a further report later or into this 2026. But yeah, it's the washing is part of the routine now, but we've identified a couple of areas that we can enhance that to further the longevity of the equipment.
Great. And thank you for that, Michael. Is there anything else go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeff, I've had a couple of residents ask me about 2 orange plows and 1 green plow or something. Is that because we've borrowed or rented from, because these other trucks haven't come in yet? Is that?
Yes, through your worship, we are currently renting on loan is for 2 additional plow trucks to bring us up to a complement of our fleet. One from the city of Kingston was an orange single axle that's on deployment throughout the urban area, and one from Prince Edward County that's in the northern. It's green.
Orange green. Yeah.
Good. We can just touch on, just found out today that we have scheduled delivery on Monday of a single axle truck. Yes, so we'll get that in, and we've been working diligently to get that outfitted so it can be able to get into operations as soon as possible from the time it hits our yard.
Perfect. Good news. Go ahead, Bill.
So with the rental of these trucks, have you managed to stay within budget, what we had for 2025, 2026 starting, or?
Yes, through your worship, we have been treated very well from our neighbors. We have a very lucrative rental agreement with them, and help us out to keep us able to adhere to minimum maintenance standards in our winter operations until we can get righted up with our fleet.
I just want to say, you should be commended for what you've done with what you've got. And because I know it's difficult to budget with, depending on weather, you don't know whether you're going to have a heavy snow year or heavy freezing rain year, or even a heavy grass year or weed growing year. So I commend you on sticking with your budget.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. And that's all down to our operations crew. We have a crew that's second to none.
I understand that. And I know Chris Brown had something to do with doing some weed control and brush clearing for me this year that I had residents comment on. So I appreciate everybody's hard work in that area.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for those kind words, Bill. If there's nothing else, you can continue on, Jeff.
The next enhancement sheet depicts a further in-depth bridge inspection and cleaning and descaling on the 401 CN rail bridge. This is the bridge that the town acquired that's over top of the 401, former CN bridge. It's part of our OSIN's inspections that's conducted biannually. At the last inspection, due to the inability to get out and do a full detailed inspection on that bridge without doing lane closures and such, it was noted due to some scaling on the underside of the bridge that it is up for, we had a 2-year window to conduct the descaling process, and 2026 is the last year of that window. And so it was proposed for this $40,000 would essentially entail 2 nights work with lane shifts to conduct the descaling and an in-depth inspection of that structure.
Yeah, go ahead, Ange.
Thank you, Your Worship. Jeff, is this subcontracted out, the inspection and the descaling? Okay, I assumed that it was. And just for general information, what is descaling?
Essentially, for the descaling of this, it's essentially just pressure washing. There's a concrete sealant layer on the bottom of the bridge, and some of it just coming loose, and they just want to descale as much as possible, do a further in-depth inspection of how intensified that descaling is, how deep it goes, and what else would be required. So this is essentially just more of a detailed inspection with descaling and involved.
Do they actually do anything to seal the remaining concrete? Because I'm assuming when you're pressure washing, you're getting bits of concrete coming off. So to prevent it from deteriorating further, is there any sealing done? And I know that the bridge itself is under many discussions, but I'm just wondering if that's an actual requirement or not.
So at this point in time, we are just planning, due to the most certain future of that bridge with multi-laning coming in on the 401, it wouldn't make sense. It's not identified that we're going to descale it now, and plus with a detailed inspection, it would highlight if there's any immediate needs to go deeper and do more. But its intention is to descale and just remove any hazards, and the thickness of the steel and the actual the supporting structure is very well intended to last the rest of its life of that bridge.
Through worship to council, I did just want to mention the inspection report that Mr. Cuthell spoke to. It's provided to MTO on the biannual basis as well. So MTO is enforcing the municipality to have this work completed.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Go ahead, Brian.
So basically, we're going to spend $40,000 to do a bridge inspection and cleaning and descaling on a bridge that we know is going to be coming out at some time in the near future. Well, we don't know near future, but coming out. Is there any way that we could get the MTO to help offset some of the cost of this? I mean, it's kind of good throwing good money after bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Grant.
So through you, Mr. Mayor. So to the deputy mayor, yes, it is. We know, and as the general manager and I sort of mentioned to council prior to the break, when they expand the 401 as they intend to 6 lanes, that bridge will no longer span the space that the highway is going through, and so it will be removed. Until that time, we're required to keep it safe, and closing down all of the lanes to do other things would be very expensive. So this is one of those things that we just have to do it because we have to do it.
And it is our infrastructure, so we're responsible for it. So, is there anything else? Nope. Go ahead, Jeff.
Next budget enhancement sheet is for Manion Road Bridge. Currently, there is no barrier system on this. It's a large diameter box culvert on Manion Road, and there's no barrier system in place at this time. It's been identified through our OSM's report that this is a now need, a requirement for safety.
Great,
Seeing no
thanks.
questions. Next, budget enhancement sheet is identified but not recommended is Pleasant Drive Bridge rehabilitation. This is again another bridge that was identified within our OSM's report from the last inspection. Just the bridge deck seals and the bearings on the bridge need to have some attention, though not dire need. So it was not proposed to be brought forward in this budget delivery. And then the next budget enhancement sheet identified but not included within tonight's budget task is the replacement of New Holland 0941 roadside mower, as well as our currently used to remove snow and snow pickup. It is currently down out of service and in the shop getting some engine work done on it. So if anyone was through in the middle of the night last night, they would have noticed 2 loaders on Dundas Street and in our downtown picking up the snow. So it's this will be much welcome to come back into our fleet. It's our only piece of equipment that is able to utilize our snowblower, our large snowblower. And the value on this would be for us replacing a similar sized unit, as well as 2 purpose-built mowers that will go on it, one being a boom flail mower, other being a side attached mower, and the snowblower. And it would be more of a not an agricultural type piece of equipment, but more of a purpose-built piece of equipment that's able to take the flexing and traveling, traversing ditches and such like that. So. Yes, and as Mr. Nobes reminded me, just going in, if you actually take a look at the picture on this mower, it's the boom flail mower. It's the width of cutting. It's very slow for us to maneuver down the road and make the proper pass that the county pays us for on a county road, especially. We have to go very slow and do like 2 passes, and you're just kind of brushing it back and forth. Where a purpose-built one, a boom flail mower has its place, and we cut steep areas with it and whatnot, but this one here is there's much more efficient piece of equipment out there to conduct this work. So the new proposed unit would be much more efficient.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
Jeff knows what I gotta say. My riding lawnmower would cut more grass than that thing had cut. So we know that it's not meant for that, exactly what you meant for brushing and that, but for cutting roadsides with it, it's when you're paying your labor and thing and everything else on that. I don't know what it is. It looks like a 36-inch cut. You know what I mean? It's probably a 48, and it does a terrible job at it, but we know but there's only so much money in the pot. So we have to work with what we have, but I definitely wouldn't go with that machine again. That's and I think you agree with that anyway, Jeff. So there we go.
Sounds like some work for next year. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, through your worship. So the John Deere tractor that's sitting back there, we can't put the snow blower on that one?
Through your worship, not at this point in time, no. We have to do a refit it for a front PTO mount, and it's something that if we could sink money into getting it outfitted for it. Currently, our current practices, we do not use that piece of equipment in the winter time. So we do have a longer life span for that piece of equipment, not being susceptible to the winter abrasives and salt corrosion materials. But we would like to look at getting a front PTO mount on that tractor as well.
And so the new sidewalk plow we bought last year and the one the year before that, they don't have capability of doing the snow blowers for downtown on the sidewalks and moving the snow.
Through your worship, they do. We outfitted both of our sidewalk machines do have snow blowers for blowing sidewalks. We did have to utilize them in this last time the guys were out 2 days ago. And also the guys were trying them out today to blow snow. We have an extendable chute for one of the snow blowers to load trucks. So I actually haven't had an update on how that went today, but it's a work in progress. So it
Yeah.
takes a very powerful machine to run. The one we do have on our New Holland is a purpose-built piece of equipment, 150 horse mandatory tractor to be on it, and it really works. And there's nothing that we have that can compare to that.
No, I wouldn't never even give a thought about them being able to load the trucks because, I mean, ideal they're a snow blower, but they're got to throw it up 8 or 10 feet there too. So, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I don't see anything else, so go ahead, Jeff.
The next identified enhancement sheet that's not also included in the budget tonight is for the Palace Road Bridge rehab and approach reconstruction. Just the current embankments on each approach of this bridge are very steep, and over time they have been eroding away and giving way. And as you can see in the picture, and if you travel the bridge, that we have put Jersey barriers, we have built the road up with padding as much as we can. And it's going to have to receive some more this year and replace those Jersey barriers. Though this $900,000 would be a little bit of a alignment correction to the approaches on the bridges. New bank stabilization on both sides, flattening those slopes out, structured engineered wall on the northwest approach, and where the house is sitting there, and it would all be identified work within that 900,000, and also a new asphalt surface over top of it all.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to take a moment here just to have a conversation with council regarding our ability to do road reconstruction and the lack of funds that we currently have in our budgeting, like our capital levy, and in a reserve that doesn't exist for road reconstruction. So currently we are solely relying on provincial and federal funding to support most of those projects, if not all of those projects. So I just need to highlight this to council as a need that we will continue to work towards as a municipality to have better plans to support our road reconstruction. It's starting to impact our ability to do joint projects with utilities. There are needs underneath the roads, but yet we can't afford to address the needs on top of the roads. So that we highlight that as a concern. And once we get through some of these fleet and our capital life cycle replacements on our smaller needs, this is the next thing we're gonna have to turn our attention to and come up with some ideas on how we're gonna be able to address these going forward.
Thanks, Ellen, for bringing that up. I think that's sort of important because at some point the well is probably going to go dry. We're not going to have such friendly infrastructure-minded upper tier government, right? So, thanks for bringing that up. So, go ahead, Jeff.
And just to touch on, Ellen brought up a really great point, and this has been something that through our roads needs studies and our inspections, just looking at areas of our town. Water Street West, Mill Street West, Napier, Hesford, some of our old subdivisions that are on the south side of the river, Henry Street and Alfred Street and them. These are the areas, this is where the reserve is needed to be constructed to be able to address some of those roads.
Yep, go ahead, Bob.
Just quickly, do a lot of big trucks use this part of Palace Road? Because if not, why don't we just close it off and say, go downtown, turn right, carry on? For $900,000, I'm just curious.
It's a really great question, Bob. And this road would actually almost be considered, if it wouldn't be a really good county road. No, it's throwing a dart. I joke with the guys about this all the time, but quite seriously, if something happened over that river crossing or not, and you would have to send traffic all the way to County Road 22. That's a long way south of our municipality to detour around because everyone knows the mouse hole on Little Creek Street. You couldn't fit a transporter or a large truck under that. This is a very hard spot to traverse as well with a belly dump with a drop deck float. So during this work, we would try and even that out so we could make it more traversable for larger trucks. But great question, Bob. I believe it's very important to maintain this for any kind of town function or emergency that may happen. And we had to cross anywhere south of the river without the ability to use Dundas Street or cross the river for that bridge. So I do think it's a very important artery.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
So Bob, when you come from the south and you're going into town and Center Street, you know, there's a little bit of a rush hour now and things are backed up and stuff like this. And if I have to go to Davis and Davis or that part of town, I come over the bridge, come down in, cut across underneath the CN tracks, and boom, I come in the sideway. So it's just another way to get in town because, as you know, as the amount of traffic flow and that we'll be having with the problems with the stoplights and people and waiting there is just as the traffic increases, those alternate routes are definitely going to come into play. And back to reserves. Well, thank goodness this council had the foresight to go ahead and have the host municipality agreements that we have. It might not be showing into effect now, but in future years, it's going to definitely help. And if we didn't have that other revenue source of income, do you have to understand the municipality, the shape it was? So kudos to this municipality because we knew things like that would happen. A lot of other municipalities didn't have that foresight, but this municipality did with staff. So I'm not as panicked as I was 3 years ago. So all I'm saying is thank goodness we did what we did and with the staff that we had and then the foresight to plan those things ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I think we all realize there are going to be some challenges ahead and my mind was going in the same direction as yours, Jeff. and maybe with the new, I think there's supposed to be at the county level a new traffic management plan, and I probably got that wrong, but it's coming in the near future. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel to try and help our north-south flow of traffic through this municipality, because obviously we've grown to a point now where it has now become a problem. So, and this is just one piece of it. So in any event, thank you for bringing that up. And if there's nothing else, I think, are we just about the end of Public Works, aren't we? Perfect. We got a few minutes. We have solid waste up next. If we can get solids, go ahead, Bill.
Could I just ask a question of Jeff before you?
Yep.
And it's a hypothetical question. It's nothing too serious, but you mentioned Selby Satellite Garage at one time during your presentation. I just wanted to ask you, is it utilized very much at all other than just storage for salt, sand, that type thing? Or?
Yeah, great question. Doing work in the northern part of the municipality, capital in the summer times, any kind of roadside cutting or mowing or any operations like that in the north, that yard is utilized. And it also is utilized mainly for any of our leaf and brush collection. It all goes there and is further processed. We utilize it for a recycled asphalt storage and concrete storage where we repurpose the materials. There's a large area in the back if you go in there and go look into the back. But no, you really touched on the main purpose is our winter operations. That would save hour and a half turnaround to be able to turn trucks out of that yard and resend them north versus them coming in through town and getting loaded about an hour.
I have another partial hypothetical to that as well. Is there a lot of space out there that, and I want to emphasize this is future hypothetical, in your estimation, do you think there'd be room out there for a potential composting facility in the future out there?
Potential. Yes. Potential.
It's just something that's been cooking in my brain and something that the Waste Diversion Committee might be working on in the future. And like I say, it's future, it's hypothetical, it's future. It's not something we're doing this year or tomorrow or whatever, but I just wanted to get your opinion on that as
Yeah, through your worship, but the potential is it depends on the composting and everything else, organics, and there's a lot of environmental regulations, but
Yep.
there's some acreage out back in that we own, the town owns in that facility area, so there's potential for any compliance.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, just hang tight. I think Bob's got a question too. So go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, this was suggested I ask you today from yesterday. You have a garbage bin up at the rock cut, 20,000 a year, I think, for downtown garbage that they drop there. We own a garbage dump. Why don't we just take it out to South Red? Would that cost more than 20 grand a year for fuel and time? I'm just curious. It's just trying to think of saving money.
That's a great question, Bob, and I know Christy would be able to address this one as well. But in our South Fredericksburg landfill, currently we do not accept producible waste, organic waste. If you did accept that type of waste there, you would be into triggering a whole different landfill operation with a methane gas collection system, leachate collection system. Right now, we only accept dry waste out there. So yes, it would cost considerable amount more dollars. Not in just being the landfill operation costs. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Your Worship. Seeing as we're going to talk about the landfill out there, I understand right now we've been using a bulldozer for years for compacting and packing. How effective is that compared to an actual garbage compactor? We're looking at, buying some used equipment and whatnot. That could be something for another year to look at for a budget, because I don't think it's compacting the way an actual packer or dump packer would work. And I think you can also get them for the loaders. You can get the wheels for the loaders. That might lead to another add in there. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Brian. And thank you, gentlemen. It was a nice segue into our next discussion, which is solid waste. So come on up, Christy. We're already warmed up and we're ready for you. So. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Would like to welcome Christy to the table here. I did just want to mention or make council aware Andrew's sick tonight. He was intending to be here, but unfortunately has come down with something. He has put a heavy lift into creating the solid waste budget along with Christy and finance staff. And Andrew's been working hard to ensure that our Blue Box transition is smooth. By all accounts, from what we understand from calls from residents and reports from MTerras, things seem to be working quite smoothly with the transition occurring this week. So just wanted to make council aware Andrew did intend to be here, but Christy will be presenting in his place.
Great. Great. Thank you, Michael. And welcome, Christy. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Through your worship, with that, we'll just jump right in. Before you have just a bit of an overview of what our department oversees. As you're well aware, we oversee the curbside collection of garbage, but also included in this budget is the operation of our active waste disposal sites, so Roblin and South Fredericksburg, and the monitoring and reporting associated with these sites, as well as the closed Water Street landfill. And the budget also includes consideration for leaf and brush grinding and disposal, as well as our household hazardous waste event. Within the department, we have 6 part-time landfill attendants. 2 are primarily housed out of the Roblin site, and 4 typically at the South Fredericksburg site. And then we have 5 full-time employees, but many of those are wage splits with and shared with the utilities department. Some of our highlights for the 2025 year include the Blue Box transition that Michael just mentioned. Our team worked diligently to prepare for the Blue Box transition, and that took place on January 1st of 2026. And as a result of that Blue Box transition, we successfully worked with our current waste contractor, Waste Management, to amend the existing a contract or agreement to remove reference to recycling and remove the curbside collection of that recyclable material. With our Human Resources Department, we hired and onboarded 2 waste disposal attendants. We developed a formal fill plan for the South Fredericksburg waste disposal site with the intent of prolonging the life of that site as long as possible. So we're looking at, as we move forward, having designated areas in which the material is placed and ensuring that we're, actively pushing out the mound itself and prolonging the life of the site. And with that, as there was a question earlier about the potential of a compactor, that is something that the department has had on the radar and will continue to look into, hoping in future budgets that's a recommendation that we can put forward when finances and such allow. And lastly, we completed our first year of sampling and monitoring for under our new environmental compliance approval for the Water Street landfill. So that is a closed site on Water Street that seemed to go unnoticed for many years. And we now formally, there were a lot of different processes and monitoring plans in place throughout the years that the department undertook for the Ministry of Environment, but there was no formal plan or environmental compliance approval for that site. So we worked with them to put something together, and now we have a formalized sampling and monitoring plan and reporting plan that helps us plan for future budgets because we know what exactly is required for that site. So we were successful in the reporting, first full year of reporting and monitoring as per that new environmental compliance approval. The proposed budget includes a reduction to the special tax levy for curbside collection from $200 to $150 annually per household as a result of the savings that the municipality will see as part of the change in the Blue Box collection or program. And this allows the savings to directly impact those users of the system. Just to note, there is no change or no proposed change to the process. 50 bag tags will be mailed or provided in late January, early February to residential properties. And the special tax levy will be added to the final installment of taxes in June. I apologize. I believe I've made this error in a few different slides. It's not the first installment. It's the final installment. And lastly, this is just an overview of the solid waste budget. Again, I just wanted to reiterate that it includes curbside collection of garbage, operation and monitoring of those waste disposal sites, leaf and brush collection and disposal, and our annual household hazardous waste event. We are available for any questions.
Great, thanks, Christy. Thank you, Christy. Is there any questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Christy, the new ECA, could you tell me what the cost is for the old, on Water Street, the old landfill, an old Napanee dump? Because it used to be around $40,000 a year. I think we used to have to pay. I'm not 100% sure. Is that increased or decreased, or is there an end sight to that? Like, do we ever have to come to a point where we don't have to do that anymore? Because that's been closed for a lot of years.
Ellen is searching frantically for you, Mike, so just hang tight. Christy might be able to get
Through your worship, while she searches just to get an accurate number, I will say that there were a few years where we carried over $100,000 budget because there was some significant unknowns with what we needed to do there. I will say, and she'll probably speak in any moment, but 17,000 annually. So we were able to significantly reduce that. We're on a biannual reporting. So every other year we have to submit reports, but we're submitting sampling and monitoring throughout those years as it moves forward. And we hope that once we have a number of years kind of under our belts of the reporting, and if there's minimal concerns, that we could reach back out to the ministry to amend to reduce that or look to reduce the sampling, monitoring, and reporting requirements. But we were able to significantly reduce the budget over the past couple of years once we received this new ECA.
All right, thank you.
Great, thanks, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Christy. Thanks, Ellen. Is there anything else? Seeing none, I think that's the end of solid waste. And I think at this point, before we move on to, we're going to take a break probably for 10 minutes. At least I know I probably require one. So we'll see you back in about 10 minutes, about 10 after 7. Thanks. Thank you for your indulgence, folks, and welcome back. We're going to continue on with our special session of council, and I unfortunately omitted to get a note and receive motion for the last bunch of presentations. So we'll get that done. Moved by Deputy Mayor Calvert, seconded by Councillor Martin. If there's no further comments, questions, concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion is carried. Next up is draft utilities budget presentation. And Christy, you're going to start off?
Through your worship, I will just jump right in. One thing I would just like to note, again, I'm here presenting this, but there's significant input from our operations team and our deputy director and the other administrative staff, finance and such to put this together. So while you see my face in front of you, just wanted you to know that there's significant input from others to get this before you. An overview of our department. We have 9 water and wastewater operators and 6 administration or support staff. So those include myself, Andrew, the deputy director, our environmental compliance coordinator, an engineering technologist, and 2 utilities clerks. We look after 2 water treatment plants, the AL Defo water treatment plant and the Sandhurst Shores treatment facility. 1 wastewater treatment plant and the construction of our new facility. Numerous smaller treatment systems that service some of our community halls. Over 95 kilometers of in-ground water infrastructure, 62 kilometers of in-ground sanitary infrastructure, and numerous valves and hydrants throughout the system. Some of our 2025 highlights include the groundbreaking for the wastewater treatment plant project. As you are all well aware, that was a significant undertaking for us and something I'm happy to report that is finally moving forward. We've been talking about this for many, many years now, so it's exciting for our community. We recently completed a switchover for our utilities billing software. That's going to result in an annual savings of about $33,000. And that, as far as we know, has been working well. We just released our most recent billing with the new software. And while there's a few kinks to work out, we're looking forward to more efficient processes as we continue to work with that software. Our operations team completed some pretty complex water main repairs in our distribution system, which I'll speak to a bit later in some of the operating expenses, and some preventative maintenance at our treatment facilities. Notably, we replaced the filter media at our Sandhurst Shores water treatment plant, which is done, as needed every so often. So that was a significant highlight for us. And we made a significant progress on our water meter changeout program, and we're expecting that 2026 will be the last year of that program. As you'll see within this presentation, a 5% increase to water and sewer rates is proposed for 2026. So the proposed budget includes the 5% increase on base and consumptive charges and a 5% on the majority of the fees within the rate schedule. For the average user, the impact is approximately $6 a month. And given that our rate structure is fairly balanced between fixed and variable costs, users do have the ability to reduce their consumption and ultimately their bill by reducing their water usage. This slide is just to show the financial impact to a customer based on the average consumption. So our average consumption by monthly is 24.6 cubic meters, and that would amount to just over $11 by monthly with that 5% increase. And in theory, the proposed 5% increase could amount to an additional $369,000 in revenue. However, residents do have the ability to reduce that consumption, which could impact revenue. So within this proposed budget, it does include a conservative approach to the revenue for 2026. Our rate comparison this year does include a few different municipalities than you may have seen in the past as a result of our standardized list of municipal comparators. Some of those municipalities were excluded from this table as they don't have municipal water and wastewater services. It is interesting to compare ourselves to other municipalities, but it should be noted that treatment technologies vary significantly based on their processes, I guess, and can have a significant impact on operating costs and as do economies to scale. I think I've said this many times, but our rate structure does allow us to address fixed costs while providing some flexibility to our customers for savings through water conservation efforts. This slide was included as a snapshot of some of our historical utilities budgets. As you'll see, it's not uncommon for us to use some of our reserve contribution to fund the budget. So for 2026, the proposed budget includes capital revenue of 2.8 million going into reserves, but using 1.5 million of that to fund the 6.4 million in expenses. And while it's hard to see that in a snapshot on this, you will see it further in the slide or further in the presentation in a table. And I believe you all have the utilities budget summary in front of you that could be used for reference. So to summarize the proposed budget, the 2025 year-end expenditures are expected to be under budget by $126,000. The bulk of this is a result of some pre-engineering work that was budgeted but was not completed in 2025. And the proposed budget does include a carry forward of $110,000 of that to complete pre-engineering for future in-ground projects. You'll see this later in the presentation, but there is a lengthy list of in-ground projects that we have identified needs for, but we aren't able to move forward without significant capital commitment. And the unaudited utilities reserve balances is currently over $12.6 million.
Your Worship, just to add on to the carry forward amount that Christy mentioned, that is in conjunction with the carry forward that Council heard last night related to pre-engineering for a project on Center Street and Isabella Street that we're looking to get completed. So we're doing those in tandem between both town and county, or town and utilities rather, which would also have an impact with county as well. So we're looking to advance those projects, but we're certainly eager to hear the outcome of a recent funding application for that project. That we're hopeful to hear some good news from the province in the near future. So we'll see what that yields. But at this point, that is what that carry forward is for what we heard last night.
This slide was created as a visual to show our average consumption over the last 10 years with the cost of the average bill and including our rate increases. So as mentioned, the 24.6 cubic meters is the average bi-monthly consumption, with the average bill being $224 and change. My eyes aren't very good, I apologize. We currently have 3,600 water and sewer customers, with 87% of those being residential users. Our residential customers account for approximately 61% of our billed water revenue. Again, the variable portion of our rates allow customers to really control that billing. The projected year end for the 2025 operating budget is expected to come in approximately $22,000 under budget as a result of some savings that were realized at our treatment facilities. And the proposed 2026 budget has been decreased by $31,000 when compared to the previous year. This slide and the next were created just to kind of make note or highlight some of the variances you'll see within the summary spreadsheet. And I'm not going to go through them in detail unless there's any questions. But one thing I would like to note, in 2025, there were significant in-ground repairs and expenses required for some pretty complex repairs we had to do. We carry budget item or budget lines for basically emergency repairs throughout the year for both water and sanitary. These are incredibly difficult to budget for from our perspective. Obviously, things happen, but we've taken a conservative approach and tried to budget using some averages, but the budget presented before you does have an increase to some of those to account for some of those costs we saw this year and may see in the future. The proposed budget includes an increase to salaries and benefits as a result of some compensation agreements. And now we'll jump into some of the capital proposals. I will speak to all of these on the following slides. So this is just here for a summary, but we'll jump right into the enhancements here. So as Michael and I just mentioned, the proposed budget includes a carry forward for pre-engineering for in-ground works. This will allow us to work towards having some projects shovel ready, which aids in future planning and potential funding opportunities. This one is specific to our raw water main. So in 2023, we had a break on our raw water main that brings the raw water from Lake Ontario to our reservoir at the top of the golf course hill and ultimately to the water treatment plant in Napanee. Given the location of the break and the permitting required, we actually had to have a dive team come in and complete the temporary but emergency repair on this 20-inch raw water main. This is our main transition main or line from the lake and something that I think keeps many of our operations staff, including myself, up at night. So what we're proposing here, because the repair was done essentially sight unseen, we know that it was successful, but we don't know how long it's going to last. So we're proposing that we replace approximately 30 meters of that water main through Little Creek, so essentially to the bridge abutments, as the current state of that section is unknown. While the general replacement would be very straightforward, the project does require significant planning and permitting due to the location and proximity or essentially through the creek. So there's some more, we feel that the work will be pretty straightforward, but we do have to kind of take some extra caution and contingency to complete this repair. So this is something that we feel is really important and look forward to in 2026.
Sorry, I think Ange has a question. Go ahead, Ange.
Thank you, through your worship. And I could have asked this earlier had I thought of it, Christy. The $85,000 is specific to that chunk of water main, right? Just how do you accommodate, like if it takes 2 days, do you do a temporary pipe connection through there, or are you using a different source? I'm just asking more out of curiosity. And is there an additional cost to doing that over and above this 85,000 for the Little Creek portion?
So there will be some significant planning involved in this. Primarily, we'll rely on a lot of our operations staff, but the intent during this time would be to have all of our treated water storage units completely full, and then our reservoirs full as well. Another opportunity that we have with this situation is that we can do a lot of the pre-work before actually isolating that main. So, blocking off or holding back the water in the creek, preparing the area. We may even be able to put some of the pipe work together on land before we actually separate that main and do the work. So it will definitely require significant planning and involvement, but we're pretty comfortable with the budget value proposed here.
Okay, and most of the work is being carried out by our own operators, or maybe a subcontractor of some sort, but primarily it's going to be in-house staff doing the work.
Yes, our staff will definitely be involved. There will likely be a contractor of some sort. There will be. We don't have all the heavy equipment required to complete the job, but our staff will be heavily involved in the project as well. And one other thing I would note, I guess at this time, is that we do have an alternate raw water source. While it's nice to have the river intake. There are significant process changes that would be required if we had to use that. So that would be an absolute last resort, but it is a bit of a contingency and a somewhat of a comfort level for our operations staff and ultimately our residents.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. Go ahead, Chrissy.
In speaking to that alternate raw water source, through council resolution in 2020, we purchased and supplied materials for HR Dornicamp to replace and install the in-ground piping at our alternate raw water intake off of the Napanee River. A large section of this has been installed, but a section still needs to be replaced in front of the Adjourn water treatment plant. So the proposal in front of you includes the replacement of a section of that HDP pipe, remainder of that from basically the property allowance or within the driveway in front of the water treatment plant. The section that has already been installed was connected using butt end fusing, and given access restrictions, costs, and timeline concerns, it is recommended that we connect the remaining sections with electrically fused couplings. So the $25,000 ask here includes the cost of the couplings and a purchase of a maintenance access hole that will be installed on the line, but the installation work will not be a cost for the municipality, as this is under a previous site plan agreement. Obviously, we'll be heavily involved in the project and oversee it, but the work isn't an additional expense here.
Great, thanks, Christy.
This capital enhancement here is for the relocation of our small and medium filling stations away from the Adjourn water treatment plant in attempt to reduce congestion and to modernize equipment. We intend to release an RFP to determine the best setup, but we will ask for submissions on both single and dual ports that could allow, essentially the dual ports could allow two larger units, so the medium fill to fill at the same time. The utilities portion of this is budgeted at $100,000, as 50% could be funded through development charges.
Through your worship to council, I just wanted to jump in here. So council will recall during the land registry discussions held in the summertime, staff had identified a piece of property that could be leveraged for this exact use. Through consultation with Conservation Authority, we're looking at the very south end of Snow Road. So this would include a very modest extension of the main to get into the site to place this new structure. We were initially looking at off of Dairy Avenue, but there is proximity of a wetland that would potentially hamper that location. So we're looking at Snow Road for this, which staff feel is not in any residential area. It's still centrally located within the municipality. We feel it's the best location, and we're going to commence some preliminary level site layout works to see how this would best fit on the site. But there's a lot more flexibility at the south end of Snow Road than off of Dairy Avenue. So just to make council aware, we had that conversation previously, and that's the direction staff are headed.
Perfect, thank you, Michael. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, thank you, through your worship. Yeah, that would be, that'd be nice to see that actually come to fruition, because this drought situation seems to be getting worse and worse and worse every year. This is the busiest I've ever seen it. I travel that road quite a bit, and haul water myself, and it's lined up. It's lined up 90% of the time all summer long, and it's just getting worse year after year after year. So to move a station out there and do that, if that's something that we can definitely do, that would be absolutely wonderful for all residents. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Is there anything else? Nope. Go ahead, Christy.
The next one here is regarding our low lift well at the Lake Ontario pumping station. So it houses 2 large vertical turbine pumps that provide that raw water from Lake Ontario to the reservoir and Napanee, and ultimately again to the water treatment plant. The well that houses these pumps is leaking and it needs to be repaired. Given the size of the location, the size and location of the well, it will likely require a structural sleeve to be installed. What the proposed budget includes is a budget value to allow the department to move forward with engineering to determine exactly what is needed and the costs associated with the work. So there may be, once we get into that, should it be approved, there may be additional funds as part of this that can be used or carried forward into the future of actually repairing this. We're comfortable with the plan, but I just really wanted to make it clear that this is critical to our water treatment operations. And at some point in time, this could become an emergency, which would accelerate our timelines. However, we weren't comfortable including an estimated budget value for a sleeve or such without further engineering. So we're proposing this approach for 2026.
Great, thank you. Not seeing any questions, so go ahead.
This $10,000 is for a replacement of our chlorine analyzer at the Lake Ontario pumping station. So this analyzer is used to measure chlorine levels in the raw water and is critical in ensuring effective treatment further in our process. The current unit is dated and is recommended for replacement for reliability and to ensure that it's modern enough that we can get spare parts when and if they're needed.
Great, thanks. Go ahead.
We're getting close to the end of these capital enhancements here. This next ask is for containment recoding for some of our chemical containments at our treatment facilities. So during a recent chemical leak, it was identified that one of our secondary containment units didn't contain the spilled material as it should have. Our staff then completed a thorough inspection of the rest of the chemical secondary containment units and areas and observed them to be in similar condition to the one that leaked. So this enhancement item includes a recoding of the 10 secondary containment units between Ale Defo, the Lake Station, and our Sandhurst Shores Water Treatment Plant to reduce health and safety risks and to prevent potential environmental contamination.
Great, thanks. Go ahead.
This capital enhancement is $20,000 for a chlorine dosing pump at the Sandhurst Shores Water Treatment Plant. It has reached its end of operational life, resulting in reduced reliability, increased maintenance demands, and potential risk to the consistency of chlorine dosing. So we're just proposing to replace the pump and the controls associated with that chlorine dosing pump.
Nope, go ahead.
This enhancement is to replace a 2015 Ford 2500 series pickup to keep in line with the department's current 10-year replacement plan. Our current replacement plan has allowed the department to see a decent return value in the sale of our used fleet as we are replacing them while they still hold some value. This truck currently has 110,000 kilometers on it, and The value, the $95,000 ask here includes outfitting the truck with a lift gate. So the truck is our department's only vehicle with a lift gate, so it's heavily relied on by our operations team to move a lot of our essential equipment, pumps, to aid in some of our emergency repairs and that sort of thing.
Great. Thanks, Christy. Not seeing any questions, so go ahead.
A supervisory control and data acquisition system, also known as a SCADA system, is used to monitor and control our drinking water systems. In 2025, we replaced 2 SCADA packs at our 2 potable water booster stations in Napanee and are looking to continue with the replacement of 2 more in 2026, 1 at our raw water reservoir and 1 at the Lake Ontario pumping station. These essentially allow the Napanee or Ale-Defo water treatment plant to communicate or talk to these remote stations, and we can control some operations through there. So the proposed enhancement of $30,000 includes hardware, material install, and technical services as necessary.
Perfect. Thanks. Go ahead.
The proposed budget also includes $110,000 for a water meter purchase or water meters as part of our water meter replacement program. For the past several years, we've been working to upgrade our water meters from touchpad reads to the newer style radio frequency meters. And we're happy to announce that it's expected that our water meter replacement program will be complete in 2026.
Perfect. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, through your worship. Excuse me for not knowing, but what is the life expectancy of a water meter?
Approximately 20 years. We do have to replace some well before that should things go on, but they do also have a warranty period that we can send them back to the supplier and have some testing done on them should issues arise before the warranty's up.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Anne.
Thank you, through you, your worship. So Christy, I guess just to confirm, any new residential builds, or I guess industrial builds for that matter, they're outfitted with one of the up-to-date radio frequency meters right off the get-go.
Through your worship, that's correct. So the annual capital purchase of water meters, well, a significant amount of them are used for a replacement program. We do hold some back for the sale of water meters. So yes, all new residential water and sewer customers purchase their meters through us, and they are installed and inspected installed privately, but inspected by our department.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Anne. Is there anything else? Nope. Go ahead.
And lastly, this capital enhancement is for a rate study for our water and sewer rates. So we're looking to review our current water and sewer rates to make sure they cover the costs of our daily operations, system maintenance, and considering future upgrades and needs. So the goal here will be to set fair and sustainable rates that support long-term service and financial planning for the department. And I feel like we've been talking about this for a long time, so we're really looking forward to getting it completed in 2026, which will help guide some of our future budgets.
Yep. Go ahead, Anne.
Thank you, through you, your worship. And the question on everyone's mind, will the medium fill station at its new location be subject to the rate study as well? Okay.
Through your worship, yes, it will be considered in that. The proposed budget before you and the rate schedule doesn't include an increase for 2026. And that is because while the capital enhancement includes a proposal for actually installing the fill station, should it be approved, it likely won't be complete or in operation until near the end of 2026, at which time we would really take a closer look on the costs to convey that water, the costs to pay for the station, and to kind of get us towards a revenue neutral on that station.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Not seeing anything else, so go ahead.
And while these projects here aren't proposed in the 2026 budget, we wanted to ensure that our in-ground capital needs are identified to council. Our projections show that we need to be contributing a minimum of $2 million annually for water distribution and sanitary sewer replacements. The list includes some of our identified problem areas and future considerations for joint projects with the County of Lennox and Addington that are on the department's radar probably for the next 5 years. So we just wanted to keep that in mind that, you know, future budgets will be looking for some more in-ground repairs.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
So, is Center Street going to be worked on underground this year? Without saying?
I think there is an intention to bounce that up in the hopper, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct, Mr. Dobes?
Yeah, through your worship, that's due to the reallocation of the pre-engineering carry forward. So we're looking to commence that this year in anticipation of undertaking a joint project with the county for 27. That's the hope. So that's why we're, regardless whether the funding is there or not, we'll hopefully find out soon. But we would still need that design regardless. So it makes the most sense to carry forward and apply that.
Yeah, I was just, I didn't know if it was 26 or 27. That's all.
Yep. Nope. That's great. Thanks, Mike. And thanks, Mike.
In addition to our in-ground needs, we do have some other capital needs coming in the next few years. So we just wanted to include that for your awareness. One is the low lift well repair at the Lake Ontario pumping station. Well, in 2026, we intend to engineer that and get a plan in place for the 2027 budget to complete the repair. And some other areas include the results from our biosolids master plan. So we expect those very soon, which will help identify some long-term storage and disposal needs, or may, for biosolids handling around our wastewater treatment. Eventually, we'll need to demolish the existing wastewater treatment plant. And in 2026, we're also expecting the completion of our utilities master plan. We're close, but it's not quite complete. So we expect to, once that's done, it should identify some other capital needs within our systems and help us be better prepared for the future.
Your worship, through you to council, I just wanted to touch on the biosolids handling. So we're nearly complete with our DC background study updates. So council might recall, council authorized staff to do an update to our background study to look at alternative funding sources for the then wastewater treatment plant prior to the announcement of the $35 million from the province. So we've done I'll say a good overhaul of the DC items that we can collect for. One of them being the biosolids handling. So we've got a draft report. It's getting finalized. We have very good confidence in those numbers. That's been built into the DC background study for council's consideration, along with a number of other projects. So that will come forward to council in the not too distant future for consideration. So I just wanted to make council aware of that. It's not a small price tag, but staff feel through the collection of DCs, it's certainly going to help offset that large capital expense in the foreseeable future. Given that it's biosolids that are being handled for existing users and new users, it would be a split between development charges and capital for existing users. So just want to make council aware of that. We will be having an update to the background study released in the not too distant future, and we would like to couple that when presented to council with the biosolids report. So just making council aware of that.
Yep, great. Thanks. Appreciate that, Mike.
This table is just showing our capital debentures. You'll see over the last several years, we haven't had any, but obviously with our wastewater treatment plant project commencing, we do expect to draw up to 25 million over a 30-year debenture, I believe, to help fund that project. So the table looks good now, or the graph, thank you. But you'll see that escalate here in the near future.
Yeah, it looks like you may need a new graph there too, Christy. I don't think it goes up quite high enough.
This was created just to show where some of our projected revenue comes from. So you'll see a significant portion of our revenue does come from those water and sewer, residential and commercial charges, our capital maintenance surcharge, but we also get significant revenue through things like septic and leachate, and the sale of water meters, and that sort of thing.
Go ahead, Brian. I think he's got a question.
Sorry, through your worship. So sale of water meters, can you explain the sale of water meters? Like, again, new to that.
Through your worship, absolutely. So we purchase through the capital portion of the budget, we do purchase a number of water meters each year. The majority of those are used to replace existing meters as part of our meter replacement program. So those, once someone has originally purchased a meter, they're not required to pay for that replacement. However, if there's a new build, they would purchase a new water meter. A lot of our, I believe anything larger than a 2-inch meter, they are responsible for. So a lot of our commercial users, if they need to replace that, they're going to purchase that themselves, and that sort of thing. So it's essentially an in and out because we are paying for the meters, and this just comes back in as a point of revenue from the sale of them. And within the budget, you'll see we do sell them at cost. The proposed rate schedule includes a cost plus 5%, I believe.
No, thank you. I just wanted to clear that up because we just had an ask for $110,000 to buy meters, but we're selling meters for $25,000. I just wanted clarity on that. So any new build, you purchase your meter up front, you do your build. If it fails, has to be replaced, whatever, then that's covered under. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Ange.
Thank you, Worship, through you. Christy, so I made a note here to ask this question. I see the residential sewer and water charges, and I see commercial. Where does the hospital and the 3 long-term care homes fall? Do they fall under commercial or institutional? And is there a difference in the rates?
Through your worship, this has institutional and commercial combined as one in this through our rates. So essentially, they wouldn't be residential. Residential are smaller size meters, and anything larger than that has a different charge based on the rate schedule. Their consumption charge is the same, but they pay a different base rate based on the size of the meter that they would have.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Christy, is all these capital expenses, are they paid for out of the capital surcharge that, like, for instance, on my bill, when I get my water bill, it's a capital surcharge. Is that all these? It seems like a lot of money. Should I be prepared to, for my wife to ask me what the heck, how much this bill is?
So through your worship, before you, the budget we have here does have, it has it set up so that the capital surcharge or revenue comes into the budget. And then we've essentially combined the operating and capital budgets. So we do have revenue from the use of water, and then the additional capital maintenance surcharge allocated here, and then all of our operating expenses are within the budget, as well as these capital asks. They're included in the budget now. So with that 5% recommendation, 5% increase, that includes all of these capital asks, and while still contributing 1.4 million to our reserves for future use.
Thank you for that.
So essentially the capital and maintenance surcharge would just go up the 5% to cover all of that work.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. It just seems like a lot of capital expense in 1 year, and I'm wondering where all that money is coming from. So it's all coming from reserve capital surcharge? Is that where it's coming from?
Through your worship to Councilor Martin, yes, that's correct. In this proposed budget, that's how this is working. So we have $2.8 million in the capital surcharge going into the reserve. We have an operating surplus of $500,000 going into the reserves, and we have $1.9 million of capital work coming out of that same reserve, meaning a net residual left in 2026 proposed of 1.4 million. So to answer the question blankly, yes, all of the capital enhancements are being funded through the capital surcharge.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Capital and maintenance surcharge once combined.
Thanks, Bill. You're not going to get in trouble from your wife. I think that's it. So, yep, go ahead, Chris.
So on that revenue, just a couple of key notes. On the revenue side, we had 36 new customers to date in 2025. 15 of those were residential. And Deputy Mayor Calver, you'll find this noteworthy, I guess. In 2025, we provided over 26,000 loads of water from our medium fill station, which is probably a record if I looked back. And for a small fill station at the front of the water treatment plant in Napanee, we provided an equivalent of nearly 1.8 million water bottles through that station this year.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So the medium is $2, wasn't it? $2 for the, what is it? How many cubic meters is one of those little white things again?
Through your worship, 1 cubic meter or 1,000 liters is $2 at the medium fill station. Currently, there's no charge for a small station.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
You may or may not have it, but could you just give us an idea how many loads went through last year, or do you have that available? I'm just curious for myself, that's all.
I can get it for you shortly.
Yeah, that would be great. I mentioned to several people, you know, the 25,000 loads went out of there. Well, it was actually, like you say, 26,000 loads went out of there this year at the back of that plant. It's just like it's an astronomical amount of people hauling water. It's amazing, and that's why the new station would be, like I say, it would benefit everybody because it's going to take the traffic away from downtown. It's going to take the traffic away from Center Street. It's a benefit for everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Not seeing anything else, so go ahead.
So this slide was just to give a bit more overview of our fee and rate review that we're proposing in 2026. As mentioned, we're just looking to conduct that formal review and expect that that will really help guide our future rates.
Thank you, through your worship. So talking about increasing for the hauled sewage, the septic and holding tank waste, do we know what our comparators are doing as far as, oh, never mind. Thank you.
Through your worship, in speaking to that, this next slide here has our hauled sewage comparison for 2025. We included this comparison with the same municipalities that we did for our water and sewer rates. Many don't offer this service, and this disposal rates really vary significantly. What I will say is this is like the cost fluctuation is likely due to the various treatment technologies. So For example, currently at our wastewater treatment plant here in Napanee, the septage and hauled sewage rate or material has to go through our entire treatment process, whereas some directly inputted into a lagoon system, which would have significantly less costs. Some put it into their digesters directly for storage. There's different treatment technologies. So we've included this comparison. It's really hard to compare when we all have different treatment technologies, essentially. And hauled sewage is really difficult to treat. So the strain that it puts on our system is significant, especially our existing treatment facility. But we hope that with the new technology at our new plant, once it's online in 2027, 2028, that this will change and we can reevaluate that.
Yep, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Because I figure we must be the cheapest around or the only ones taken because there's a lot of out-of-town trucks coming in, and I overlooked this one when I was going through everything. But yes, we're extremely cheap, and that's why everybody's wanting to come to Napanee to get rid of their sewage. So, thank you.
Your worship, through to council, just wanted to remind council, last year we had a similar conversation, and we had proposed phasing in the increases year over year. So we'd done a jump last year. We're doing another jump this year. We didn't want to totally hit everybody all at once with a very large increase. So we're getting closer to where staff feel we're charging a modest amount that is going to help offset our cost of treatment. But we did have a similar increase last year, and it was planned to or proposed last year to do the same this year too.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Michael. If there's nothing else, then continue on, Christy.
So the proposed budget includes a 5% increase to the base and consumption charges unless otherwise noted. So the otherwise noted would be the proposed increase to the rate of the disposal for hauled sewage, as Michael just mentioned, to $30 per cubic meter to better reflect our current costs of treatment. As part of the wastewater treatment plant process, the expansion process, I apologize, we determined that our rate should be in the $30 range. And as mentioned, we increased it to 23 last year in an attempt to kind of slow that, not do the big jump in 1 year. This rate definitely will be reevaluated with our new facility, but until then, we feel we really need to more accurately capture or bring in the costs associated with the current level of treatment that it entails. A $5 fee was also added to this water and sewer charges table to capture some of the administrative costs for reissuing and mailing bills at the resident's request. So not often, but sometimes we get asked to re-mail a bill, and there's costs associated with that. So we're looking to add that to the service charges. And new this year, we're looking to add a charge for water meter inspections. So this was identified as an area where we weren't really truly recouping some of the costs associated with this service we offer. So, we currently sell a meter to a customer or resident, and then we have to do some administrative work with adding that meter to our account base, but also to physically do an inspection and sometimes a re-inspection to ensure it's installed correctly and operating correctly. So this fee would apply to a new build, but not if we were replacing the meter, obviously, as part of our meter replacement program.
Okay, yeah, continue on.
The unaudited utilities reserve balances currently total over $12.6 million. These values do not include 2025 year-end transfers. And I just wanted to note that while these are decent balances through the financing strategy for the wastewater treatment plant, as it was presented, we do expect to use much of these reserves to fund part of that project. So in summary, the proposed budget includes $31,000 reduction to our operating budget or expenses, and an overall increase in expenses to expenses of $461,000. This budget includes $1.3 million allocated to the wastewater treatment plant project, and includes $765,000 in other capital work, as was discussed earlier in the presentation, as well as consideration for wages and benefit increases as part of these the compensation agreements we have, while still contributing $1.4 million into our reserves to help fund future projects. With that, we're available if you have any questions.
Great. Thanks, Christy. Is there any questions or comments for Christy with respect to her presentation? Go ahead, Brian.
Not a single question. Just a pat on the back for everybody involved in it. This is absolutely amazing. Well done. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anything else? Go ahead, Mike.
Might as well ask one question here. Chris, where does it shows $1.3 million upon debt reduction on the new plant? Are you putting any money aside for that right now anywhere? Your debenture that you're going to be taking?
Yeah, through your worship, yes, it's included in this budget, and it was included last year as well, which is, we'll go back into reserves until such time we need to use it.
Perfect. Thanks. Yep. No, that's good. Is there anything else? Seeing none, I guess, oh, go ahead, Bill.
Sorry, just one thing popped in my mind. There isn't any current debt owing to Napanee Utilities for money that was borrowed from there for other uses, is there right now? Because I'm thinking of, for instance, the East Street construction that was, I believe there was money borrowed from there.
Through your worship, no, we have finalized the financing on East Street, and no, there's nothing still outstanding for that.
Thank you.
For transfer between the two. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything else? I guess the only question I have is maybe of council and we're not looking for any decisions tonight on this, but is there any resistance to the 5% increase to the rates for the water? Is there any real resistance or discussions that anybody wants to have with respect to that? Just so staff has an indication. Perfect. Seeing that, I think we are at the end of the 2026 budget presentation. Am I not? I think. Is there anything else? Nope. So that's it. So we'll start off. We'll look for a motion to note and receive the draft utilities budget presentation for the 2026. Moved by Councillor Shanks, seconded by Councillor Hicks. If there's no further comments, questions, or concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Now I know staff is looking for a little bit of guidance with respect to a couple or three motions. We don't have to do it tonight, but I mean, I think they're fairly straightforward. And if council doesn't have the will to do that tonight, we don't have to, but it may, seeing as we have a couple of minutes, we might be able to clean up some stuff and kind of kill as you go. They'll be looking for a resolution or a motion that council approve the carry forward of the unspent funds from the 2025 budget and to the 2026 budget for the following purposes. And these are the things that we heard yesterday with respect to the pre-engineering. There was $45,000. Roads study, needs study, $25,000. Tree removal, $65,000. Sidewalks, $10,000. Water street landfill, consulting and engineering services, $20,000. And the town hall roof, $37. And from recollection, that was sorry, 37,000. Yeah. 30, and I got it right in front of me, and I read it wrong, Mike. So, so staff is just looking direction to carry that stuff over into the 2026. So, moved by Councillor Shank, second by Councillor Hicks. Is there any further comments, questions, or concerns with respect to that? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. The other one is that council approved the carry forward of the unspent funds from the 2025 utilities budget, which we just heard of, to the 2026 utilities budget for the following purpose: pre-engineering, $110,000. Again, it's a carry forward. So moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Shank. there any further comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion is carried. And finally is that council approves the reduction of the special tax levy for the waste collection from $200 to $150. Moved by Councillor Hicks, second by Councillor Shank. If there are any further comments, questions, concerns? Go ahead, Bill.
I have to vote against this. I'm sorry. I don't agree with the special tax for curbside pickup at all. So I have to vote against it. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Is there any other comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion that's on the floor? Opposed, the motion's carried. Those are the housekeeping things that I have, unless there's something else that someone else would like to bring up. Now, obviously, we're not in a position to authorize the budget tonight. It's been a very, very productive, and I'll reiterate the words of Ms. Hamill, very, very productive. And I have to admit that I love the way this has been presented. It's budgets for dummies it's for me, right? So I appreciate that. But is there anything else that anyone else would like to speak to? And I know that we're going to come back to this no later than February 3rd for authorization of the budget. And there is an opportunity, and correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Clerk, for if there's any input from council, that if something clicks a couple of weeks from now or a couple of days from now, that they can fill out the forms and send them to you.
Certainly, through your worship. So what we envision the process for the next couple of weeks looking like is we have a template form that we think would be helpful to use to guide this process. If councilors over the next couple of weeks have any things they think they might like to amend, we encourage you to come in and chat with staff. We'll work through with that with you, because obviously any budget amendment has both a cost and a revenue, or expense and revenue implication. So it needs to balance out at the end of the day. We would, if I haven't heard anything from anyone by January 22nd, we'll send out a prompt confirming if anybody has any amendments they want to make, because we'll look to publish that special session agenda on the 29th. If on the 29th there's still no amendments, we will ask whether council is good to waive the rest of their notice period and adopt the budget as is. But your amendment period does go out all the way till February 6th. Also, one other thing just to highlight, after the initial background to the utilities budget was brought to you in November, we did issue our statutory public notice about the potential rate increases, advising that the detailed budget would come in January and that residents can submit any comments, questions, concerns they have about those rates at any point in time up until that bylaw is brought forward. But we have met that public notice obligation. So whenever council is comfortable with the utilities budget, we can get that rates bylaw in front of you.
Yep, go ahead, Anne.
Thank you. Have we had any comments come in?
Through your worship, I'd have to look to utilities because we put their contact information on the notice.
Through your worship, I have not specifically had any questions or comments related to those.
Go ahead, Mr. Grant.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, and this is not related to the comments, but to amendments, I can confirm we have at least one amendment from a member. So it's there will be a need to have a particular meeting, but for other members of council, should you have something that, as the clerk has said, you'd like to discuss, you can come in. We'll assist you in writing it and help you balance it out.
Perfect, thank you. Is there anything else that I have missed? Speak now. Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
Through your worship, I just wanted to speak to the question earlier about the medium fill station. So I was able to look back in 2024 at the year end, we had approximately 13,000 loads. So significant jump for 2025.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you. And thanks for pulling up so as quick as you did, Christy. Is there anything else? Confirm the proceedings of the Town of Greater Napanee Special Session of Council the 8th day of January 2026, moved by Councillor Martin, second by Deputy Mayor Calver. Ready first, second, and finally passes 8th day of January 2026. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Counselor Shank, second by Counselor Hicks. If there's no further comments, questions, concerns, all in favor of that motion? Opposed, motion's carried. Thank you, folks. And once again, it's been a very, very productive 2 days. So thanks again.